Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi. Now today we're going to be taking a look at Tiny Tuffys or SRL Heroes, depending on which country you lived in when these were released. These were produced by a company called Biewan Barter back in 1977. Or if you're in Germany, I think they were released under Hester Toys. It's again, as I say, it depends where you were from. But I remember greatly having this cowboy as a child. He's a fairly simple construction figure, lots of sort of bright plastic, no paint application at all. It's all done with sort of pieces and accessories, but you can see there the sculpt on the face is pretty reasonable, and he's got a nice lot of detail on his chest there. The interesting thing about these figures is that on the whole they just use the same parts and swapped out accessories to make them look different. So every figure has the same face. So you can see here the cowboy and the Indian are both the same character. They've just changed the sort of headgear and bits, and this guy has a different chest. But really, if you look at most of them, they just look exactly the same. I'll bring in a soldier here so we can just compare those two. So again, same face, exactly the same body. There's just a few different accessories. They've swapped the hats, and this guy's got a little neckerchief on, and he's got some holsters on his belt. But otherwise, these are exactly the same figures. And that's what I find so great about them, is that it's such a simple idea, swapping a few pieces around and getting a whole range of different toys. Now there were quite a few of these toys produced. I have here just sort of cowboys and Indians and a few soldiers, but they also produced astronauts and aliens, which came with a sort of a space buggy. There were German and English soldiers that came with a army vehicle. There's some police, all sorts of things. They're just quite hard to find. So over the years of collecting, this is all I've been able to find to add to my collection, because mainly a lot of people don't really know what they are and don't know that anybody's looking for them, so they just sort of get chucked away. But as you can see, I'm on the hunt for as many as I can get. The construction of these toys is quite interesting. It reminds me an awful lot of Action Jacks, because if you know about Action Jacks, those are fairly simple and very cheap toys that were produced. But if you pull the heads off an Action Jack, you can then split the body apart, just like so, and swap limbs and bits about, and then once you're happy with it all, you can put it all back together. The head is sort of the main part that holds this figure together, and that's pretty much what they've done with these figures. If we pull off the hat and the hair, you can see those are separate pieces, and then you've got his head there, which has got a big hole in the top of it. If we pull off the head of this figure, there's a peg that runs through the body. This actually goes to the pelvis area, but you can see we can now take this figure apart, and that enables us to swap limbs in and out. I think the legs do come off as well, if I remember rightly. They do. So you can see you can slide those out. And there he is in all his many pieces. That meant it was very easy if they wanted to produce new toys, which is exactly what they do, because all of these toys are constructed in the same way. You just pull the head off and the whole figure comes apart, and you can swap them about. So you can make all sorts of different sort of colour combinations, do what you want, and a little bit of customising, then put them back together. And there's no unscrewing of pieces or sort of gluing of anything. It's just this peg that holds the whole figure together, which is a nice sort of idea and a nice interesting way of constructing toys. Here you can see the horse that came with the cowboy and Indian set, and it's quite a nice horse, quite a nice lot of sort of detail going on. The head moves up and down, and the legs rotate, and that is about it. The construction of the horse in the centre is a little bit weird, because the legs of the figures don't splay out, so you just have to sort of squeeze him on. So if you look at the horse without the figure on it, it does look like it's a little bit of a mutant, and there's no actual way that horse would survive. It's very strange, but once the figure is in place, it does look pretty reasonable. It's just the way these toys are made. There's no way for the legs to split apart, so they've had to make the horse look a little bit weird and have a very strange sort of midsection, so that the cowboy or the Indian can sit on it. But it makes for still quite a nice toy. These come with some reins, as you can see. The plastic on these is fairly thin, so it does break quite easily. This one has snapped there at the top, and there's no real way of fixing it, but as these are quite hard to find, I'm happy with it. Even in this condition, it looks quite nice. As far as value goes, these are very cheap figures, and you can actually pick them up at toy fairs and flea markets and sort of car boots pretty cheaply. I don't think I've paid more than £2 for any of these figures. I think most of these figures have actually cost me about 50p, but just because a lot of people don't really know what they are, don't really think they're collectible, and so 50p is about the right price for them. If you look on eBay, people are trying to sell them for quite a lot of money, but you'll notice that all of those listings that people have there, never actually sell. It'll be the same figure, and there's quite a few actually that have been there for years, just keep being relisted and relisted, and no one is buying them. So I wouldn't bother spending more than sort of a couple of pounds on any of the figures loose, especially if they don't have any weapons, because I think eBay prices, people just try and take the mickey a little bit and sort of bump up what they think they're worth, and they're really not worth it. I think even the horse I only paid about £5 for, so loose, certainly don't bother spending a lot of money on them. I've yet to actually find any carded, so I couldn't give you a sort of valuation on those. I would say £15 to £20 for a carded figure is probably about reasonable, just because there are so few people who actually bother collecting them, and I can't believe there is that much of a market for them. But I've yet to actually find any carded. So at one point I do hope to find some, just so I can add them to my collection, because it's always nice to have a carded version with the loose figures. But on the whole, I'm pretty happy just having loose ones here, because this is how I remember having them, especially this poor little cowboy in the middle. I don't think I had it originally. I think it must have come from a car boot sale or a jumble sale that my mum found, so mine didn't have any weapons. I don't think he even had the hat, so the hat is something I'd never seen before. He looked more like this guy at the back. So these are pretty interesting figures, and I hope you found my sort of mini review of them interesting. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to see more, then make sure to subscribe to toy-polloi and click the bell to be notified each time I upload a video. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.